Let's get started on the offense, guys. So we went 5 for 9 on third down. That's the first thing I want to talk about. Coming in, we were 25%. I talked about that last week, Monday, about the things that I wanted to see us progress in. I thought we did a great job. 9 times. I think that's a good amount of that's a good number to have in a game. Of course, you get over 50% of that, you're above water. So well above water. So I'm happy with that coming into what we were before that. Of course, 25%, as I said. 573 total yards, 226 on the ground. Love to see that. Julian Sand was 25 for 32, 78%. He can which before coming to the game he was 79%, which now keeps him still at number 1 in the nation at 79%. So really glad of how he performed there. 3 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. The first interception wasn't good, but that second interception, man, that was it's fluky. He's getting sacked, and Ryan Day talked about this after the post game. He said, Julian's got to learn how to take sacks, and in that situation, he should have taken the sack. Now, what he did wasn't per se bad. He threw the ball literally 3 yards in front of him. Great play by the Ohio defensive player for making that play and getting the interception. But more times than not, it's hitting the ground. But yeah, in a situation like that, take the sack. Because instead of taking the sack and then possibly punting it due to what probably would have happened because of the yards we lost, you just gave them really good field position. So that's just a learning moment for Julian. Just take the sack. But overall, he played really well. And by the way, I want to read this off. So Julian Sand's touchdowns, these are the distances of his touchdowns in order: 61, 40, 47, 87, 13, 9, 16, 47, 49. And that gives him an average of 41 yards per touchdown when he throws the ball. I mean, look, Julian's doing a great job. And I think that when we're trying to grade him on a scale, I mean, you play against Texas's defense. That's a good matchup. Of course, in that game, there's a lot of drops. I thought he played a perfect game in my estimation because he never put the ball in harm's way, and had the guys made the catches. Julian's coming out of that game at worst 17 out of 20 at worst. So not mad at him at all right there. I think he did a great job in this game also. Of course, get rid of the turnovers, but again, 25 for 32 on 78%. Can't get mad at that. Also, another fun stat for you guys with Julian. I'm gonna read this for you. The only P4 quarterbacks with a 60% plus completion rate on their throws of 20 plus yards. Dante Moore is at number 5 at 62. Then Jaden Maeva at 64. Number 3 is Joey Aguilar of Tennessee at 69.2. He's playing great football, by the way. Number 2, Kevin Jennings over at SMU at 72. Julian Sand is number 1 at 100%. All of his passes that go plus 20 yards or 20 plus yards have been completed. So that's a great stat right there for Julian. He's accurate downfield, and so I'm very glad about how he's progressing in that, and I hope he continues that. I really hope he does. And I'm going to read this right here, Daniel, because that's a good question based on what we're talking about. Daniel's asked, why do you think we struggled in the red zone, Garrison? I think it's the run game. And again, I think it's just the running backs having hit the holes better. I seriously think that, I shout out to my guy, Sam. He's set college football, Sam. You guys should definitely go check that out if you haven't already. He's one of the better shows in the college football world, in my opinion. Just how he covers the Big Ten and football at large. But I think it's the run game. Guys not seeing the blocks well, because I think the O-line is doing what they should be doing. Again, Tegra, we'll talk about that in a little bit. But I think it's sad. I think Julian isn't seeing. Julian's completing balls. Don't get me wrong. He's hitting 79%, right? But he's still missing things, especially over the middle. I think over the middle is where he needs to get better, seeing what's going on there. What I do like, though, is that we're very consistent, and that Brian Hartline isn't quitting on the run game. He's continuing to do so, and he gives his quarterback chances to make those plays in the red zone. But yeah, those are the I think what's causing the struggles right now, Daniel. And Aaron, I agree. Should have won 52-6. if we execute right. I completely agree with you on that. But yeah, so shout out to Julian. Next, we get to the running backs. CJ Donaldson, 9 for 39. Good job on there. He's a power back. Happy for that. James Peoples, 7 for 47 yards. So throughout the weeks, he has been progressing, and that's all that we really want to see out of him. And then I think this is the big talk of the in terms of when it comes to Ohio State in terms of players. Bo Jackson, after going 8 for 109 with a long of 51 last week against Grambling State, he doubles down and goes 9 for 109 with a long of 64. That currently puts him at 12 yards a carry. And actually, if you take his long runs away, the 51 and the 64, he's still averaging, I think, about over 6 yards a carry. So, listen, Bo Jackson is the best. He's the best running back on this team in terms of just running the ball, in terms of talent, how he hits the hole. He hits it really fast. He doesn't go down easy. Those arm tackles, they don't do much on him. There's too much burst for him that he has coming through the hole, especially when he gets to the second level. Then once he gets to the third level, you know, something that he's probably gonna have to progress on. That's in terms of his body is hopefully getting that third gear. You see that a lot of running backs. You know, you hit that first gear, that's kind of like jogging. Then you hit that second gear, but when you're able to hit that third gear, that means you get the breakaway speed and you're gone. Kind of like what Travion Henderson has, guys like J.K. Dobbins had. I mean, honestly, you know, Beanie Wells wasn't always the fastest. He's not the fastest guy ever, especially but at his size, he had a third gear, and so those are things, you know, he's gonna have to progress with. I'm sure he's gonna get that, but I mean, Bo Jackson though, and I haven't seen enough out of him in the pass game to know what his pass blocking is like and to fully grade him on that. But when it comes to running routes, he can do that. When it comes to running the ball within the tackles, he can do that. When it comes to running to the outside, he can do that. Zone, gap, breaking tackles, stiff arm. He has all that. And you know, I'll read this to you guys right now. I mean, CJ Donaldson, you know, he said from even the offseason, he's told Bo before, you know, he's a special running back. And he has a lot of gifts. I mean, what Coach Locke has always said, he has gifts only God can give you. And so, you know what? After that, I just kind of like learned the small intricacies and nuances of the game and playing a running back, which he's definitely going to learn under Coach Locke. But I think, you know, I said that if he goes for over 100 yards again, we have to. It's not a consideration anymore about him getting more snaps or him starting. Now it's a full blown conversation and probably should happen. And I think that as we get through, we don't go through bye weeks at Ohio State. We have improvement weeks. And so as we get through this improvement week, I think Coach Locke is going to sit down and honestly figure out what he's going to do with this running back group and who should be getting the touches. And now, if we want to go like a game like this where, you know, Bo's getting 9, Peoples is getting 7, CJ is getting 9, I can work with that. I think that's a good rotation right there. But man, if Bo's getting more carries, we're cooking with hot grease. We're cooking with hot grease with Bo, and I really want to see what he can do, especially in a big game. I think this Washington game is a good game to see. And it's not that Washington has a great defense, right? But Washington definitely is a step up in competition for what we've had over the last 2 weeks, not compared to Texas, right? So yeah, I think he didn't play against Texas. So yeah, we definitely see that. And honestly, hindsight's 2020, but we probably could have used him against them. Probably would have been much more helpful than when we got that day. Excuse me. To the wide receivers, Smith 9 for 153. By the way, those 9 catches he had, that ties his record for receptions in a game. And he's also just over 1,200 yards away from beating Emeka Egbuka's all-time receiving yard record that he set last season, being Chris Olave. Being Chris Olave. So yeah, I'm not sure if his record might be blown out. That record's going to get blown out of the water by the time that he leaves, but he might beat that. He's probably going to beat that record this year. So shout out to him. Carnell Tate impresses again, 5 for 101 against supplanting himself as the second best wide receiver in the country. I really do believe that in Tate. He had a great touchdown in this game also. Shout out to Max Clary. He gets his first touchdown of the season. Over the last few weeks, I think it's really cool how Ohio State has been using the tight ends. Brian Hartline is using them exceptionally well. Especially I think in the red zone, to answer your question, Daniel, about I think that we were to use our tight ends more in the red zone, again, working that middle of the field. and when we get there, I think that would improve greatly for us. I think those tight ends, especially Max as a receiver, can be a big use there. Maybe even playing more of them, especially on the rundowns. I think we have the best. Not only do we have the best tight end room in the country, I think they are the best blocker room in the country as a tight ends as a group of tight ends. Uh, Guys like Kazmarek, uh, Bennett has been playing really well also, and we all know what Jelani McClain is. So yeah, and he's improved well also when it comes to catching the ball. I thought he was already one of the better blocking tight ends in the country coming to this season. So what else? I mean, I have it right here. What else can help in the red zone? Probably get LK in the game, like Keen Holtz. We did get to see him get an 8-yard rush. And Jake Butt said when he gets in the open field, you can see a really special runner. And he got lit up on that play too. But you can see he's really quick, really agile, gets upfield very fast. And so that was really cool to see out of LK in that. More questions to be asked. What's going on with BI? A lot of people, they've said that they want to see Mylan Graham play more snaps. I am in that camp also. But I mean, BI is not being seen. There are plays when he is open and he's not getting the ball thrown to him. So I think that's part of it. Of course, we all know about that drop ball against Texas on a really good pass by Julian Sand. But overall, I mean, I think BI is gonna be fine. I'm not worried about him. And he's a great leader on top of that, and he's a great blocker. If you ask why Mylan Graham isn't getting more snaps, you ask why other guys aren't getting more snaps in that role. No block, no rock. And if you can't block for Ohio State, and it is like most big programs, as a wide receiver, you can't block. You're probably not going to see the field. Yeah, so that's all I have of the